Beloveds. So it is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I am wearing green for a reason, because I have very little Irish in me. Only the same amount of Irish that every person of English descent has. I'm half German, and then the other half of me is the English, Irish, Scottish mix. For all that my last name is Ryan and I had red hair, right? I'm married into the last name, and the red hair, well, the Southern Germans apparently were the same color. But it is also St. Gertrude's Day. Now, St. Patrick, his feast day is a day of prayer for missionaries around the world. I have my own issues with the idea of missionary work, so we're not going to go there. It's not this raucous celebration of Irish heritage in Ireland that it is in America. In America, we just use it as an excuse to get drunk and drink awful cheap green beer. I've done it. It's bad. Don't do it. And I only did it once because there was a race, and that was the reward. They gave you green beer, and it was bad. So, like, I had 2 sips, and then that was it. But in Ireland, it was a very solemn occasion, and they used it to pray for the missionaries around the world, because St. Patrick was a missionary to the Irish. St. Patrick isn't Irish. He was English. He was just kidnapped and sold into servitude in Ireland, and got to know the Irish people. So when he went back to England and became a priest, the church went, "Oh, well, you're familiar with the Irish people. You go deal with them, because there's something else." So, hence, but the reason I mentioned St. Gertrude, because I don't know a whole lot about St. Gertrude, but I am going to look into her. She's the patron saint of cats. So, of course, I have to mention St. Gertrude. Her feast day is also today. So, and one of the reasons why I think it was the Black Plague was so bad was because they had just gone through killing all of the cats, because witches familiars. And so there weren't enough cats to keep the rats under control. And the rats were the ones carrying the fleas that carried the bacteria that caused the Black Plague. So, St. Gertrude. So, didn't know you were in for a history lesson today, did you? Hi, baby. Yes. Speaking of St. Gertrude, he is currently holding my hands with his claws. So, all right. Let's get into this, because we have an interesting title today. We had an interesting title yesterday, and we got an interesting one today, too. It is March 17th, hence the history lesson. Our title is, What Kind of a God Do You Have? Oh, I left out the A. Oh, well. Okay. And this is from Mildred Mann. Become What You Believe, Volume 1 from 1970. All right. To many people, such a question as this would seem completely sacrilegious. They would assure you that they believe in God as the one supreme ruler of the universe, who has created all and sustains all. They would tell you that all the attributes of God in which they believe. They would tell you they believe in the omnipotence and the omniscience of God, working through their lives and affairs. They would give you all the answers they have heard from ministers, lecturers, and books. They would protest that is the kind of God they have. That is what they live by. But do they? The kind of God you have is not necessarily the one to which you pay lip service, but the one in which you believe. The one in which you have perfect trust and confidence. And you can easily see what that is by watching not what you say, but what you actually think, feel, and do. If you really believe that God is all-powerful, there will be no fear in your heart. If you think God, who has made all, can change anything at a moment's notice, there will be no time limits on your demonstrations. They will be instantaneous. If you really think God is love, You can never be hurt by another human being, and there will be no criticism in you. If you really believe that God is intelligence, there will be no doubt in your heart about your ability to find your place in life. The Bible tells us, "Thou shalt not limit the Holy One of Israel," but we do limit God every day of our lives, and then we wonder why we fail to make more progress. Jesus told us, "Whatsoever ye ask, believing, that shall be done unto you." It could not be plainer or simpler. Until we begin to remove the limitations in our minds, we will worship a very limited God. As you push back the mental frontiers, your God comes closer to you, and all that you intellectually perceive now becomes a living reality. Mildred Mann, people. I haven't talked about it in a while. But that is absolutely what yes. So clear, so beautiful. If I've talked about it before, I'll talk about it again. That there are a lot of times when you need to stop and think about what you actually believe about God. Do you believe that God is an old man sitting in a chair with a book in his lap, just waiting for you to screw up, to either write you in the book or erase you out of the book? You know, is that what you believe? Because that's what we were taught as children here in the West. And they're taught different things in other places. And that's one of the things you always want to remember. And that's one of the reasons why I loved Joseph Campbell so much. Because Joseph Campbell made world mythology accessible to everybody. So we got to take a look at what other people believed about God. All right? Because we were talking about it on Philosophy Friday, and I kind of looked at one of my, one of the members and went, I think there are a lot of people in the Indian subcontinent that would disagree with you, and a lot of people in China that would disagree with you. And he kind of went, oh yeah. It is extremely important to know what you believe about God, to know what you think about God. And she's right. If you believe God is all powerful, there shouldn't be any fear in you. If you believe that God is love, then I'm not going to say you won't get hurt, but the healing will be quicker and easier. Mostly because when people hurt you, you'll understand that they're most of the time not doing it on purpose. They're coming from a place of hurt too. And so that you can say, hey, you know what? I understand where this pain, I understand that you're coming from a place of pain. You can forgive them. You don't have to forget, and you don't have to put yourself in their, I like to say, in their clutches again, when people are behaving badly, but you're able to be more empathetic, when people are acting out, when you believe in a God of love, when you believe that God is love. The instantaneous demonstrations, well, I'm not there yet. I don't believe that God is bound by time and space, but I do believe that I am bound by time and space. At least currently, Am I always going to be bound by time and space? No. No, I've been to the dream realm and, run around there and seen amazing things happen there. So, I understand that, I'm not bound by time and space. But that's one of the ways that I don't limit God, but I limit my interaction with God, and so it's extremely important to get clear on your relationship with God and what you truly believe about God. If you are going to have a healthy relationship, both with the divine, and with each other, you know? If we believe in a vengeful, angry deity, then I could see why people would be afraid, you know, and that's not the divine that I believe in. It's not the divine and it's not the divine I pray to, you know, or as we like to say, it's not the divine I pray from, you know. So you don't always get what you want. You don't always get what you pray for, but you always get what you pray from. And that's one of those phrases that makes you kind of go, wait, what? And that's what she's talking about. What kind of a God do you believe in? Do you believe in a God of love? Do you believe in a God of revenge? Do you believe in a God of peace? Or do you believe in a God of war? There's been a lot of talk of that lately. Because there are political leaders out there who are stirring the, not going to say that word, you know, but they're stirring up division and hate and, you know, it's like, okay, you're showing me the God you believe in. It's not the God I believe in. And I'm not going to listen to your nonsense about who other people are. You know, I do believe at the core of everyone is good. I just also know that a lot of people have forgotten who they are, that they have forgotten that they are beloved expressions of the divine. And other people might remember it, but because it serves their purposes to believe differently, you know, it's like, no. Yeah. So, that's one of those things. It's like, what kind of God do you believe in? And then act like that. It's really interesting, when people are called to act like Jesus, and it's like, you want to walk around in sandals and feed people and heal people and listen to people and teach people, you know, that's what Jesus did. Jesus didn't exclude anybody. You know, people get a little too focused on the sinner at the well, the woman at the well. You know, they're like, well, we're going to stone her because that's what the laws say. And Jesus, they get too focused on the fact that Jesus said, go and sin no more, and forget about the part where he said, you who is without sin cast the first stone. Well, the only person in that event who could have cast the stone didn't. You know, so Jesus believed in a God of love. Jesus believed in a God of forgiveness. That's who Jesus taught. He taught from that place. He healed from that place. So, you know, and then you can go and look at, like I mentioned, world mythology. You can go and look at Buddha, the original one, Siddhartha Garth. Sorry, I do know it and I can't remember it right now. But you know, there was a prophecy that he could be a great king, or he would be he would be a great king or a great leader of people. And so his father kept him locked up in a palace in the lap of luxury, and the divine came to him in such a way that it took him out on a chariot ride around the city. And for the first time, he saw the sick and the dying, and he went, wait a minute. And so he left his life of luxury to figure out what was going on in the world and how he could make it better. That's the kind of God that he believed in. Not the one that lives in the lap of luxury, but the one who goes out and works among the people, you know, and lives the life of the people. So, and he tried all kinds of, that particular Buddha tried all kinds of different ways. You know, he tried very extreme ways, and he's like, you know what? There's a middle way to do this, the middle path. And so that he believed in balance. And that's So while he doesn't necessarily teach the God of love, he teaches the God of balance, the God of there's enough for everybody, and everybody should get what they need. That's what he taught. And then you can also look at Brahma. In the Indian subcontinent, they just knew, you know, God is way too big to deal with, so we're going to break God up into these parts. It's like the Hindus don't have a whole bunch of gods. What they do is they have one, Brahma, but they understand that Brahma is too big to deal with, and so they break Brahma down into the individual aspects that they need in the moment. So they have the creative one, they have the balancing one, they have the destructive one, because they recognize that there's a cycle to life. But they recognize in the end, it all comes back to one. And Brahma was, you know, calm and peaceful and loving and all of those things. It's just, so, again, the question comes back. What kind of God do you believe in? Do you believe in a God of love? Well, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a big believer in don't tell me about your God. Show me your God. Show me what your religion teaches. Show me what your spirituality requires of you. Show me what your faith requires of you. You know? And my faith doesn't require me to convert you to my faith for me to help you. You deserve, you know, you deserve to be helped because you're a living being, because you're a divine expression. You know, you don't have to believe what I believe. But if there's something that I can do to help you, my God says that I can do that. And I should do that. Although the good news is the God's like, do what you can. And ask what your work is. There's this really amazing article going around about coffee. It's a question of what's mine to do. And, you know, there was a memorial for somebody. It was bitterly cold. It was a very small funeral home. There was a long line of people out in the cold. There was a donut shop across the way. And they found out later that the donut shop owner didn't know what he could do. So he made coffee because that's what he could do. So he gave coffee to all of those people in line waiting to pay their respects, you know, because they were cold and standing in the cold. And it was what he could do. So that's what you ask yourself. And that's what the divine requires of me. You know, it's like, well, what's mine to do? What in this situation can I contribute? So, it's just a beautiful story. You know, I made coffee because it's what I can do. All right. So, that's what happens when you talk. That's what happens when you talk about a God of love. It's like that God is going to ask you to do things. So, Mildred Mann, what kind of a God do you have? If you want a mission today, that is the mission. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to let's look at our words and our deeds and really get clear on what kind of God we believe in. And if we don't like what we see, then let's go back and look at our beliefs about God and, you know, expand them a bit. So, all right, that is, and because I do believe in a loving, kind, and compassionate God, that's one of the reasons why every day I suggest do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. My goal by mentioning it every day is that everything you do for yourself and others be loving, kind, and compassionate. Because that's who I believe everyone is, loving, kind, and compassionate. We've just forgotten. You know, we've had the layers of culture and society and religion, you know, layered on us. It's like we just want to peel all of that back and get to know the person that the divine knows us to be. You know, the person that the divine created us to be. And if I can promise you anything, the person the divine knows you to be is good. because that's what I believe about the divine. So, and from there, anything's possible. So, practice on yourself. Practice on yourself. Self-care is a spiritual practice. If you live a life of service, and many of us do, you can't pour from an empty cup, so you got to take care of yourself. All right, beloveds. But feel free to ask, what is mine to do? In this situation, what is mine to do? We are not meant to fix people. Sometimes what we do is we provide that listening ear and that loving heart so that they can vent and get it out of their system. Never, never underestimate the power of a listening ear and a loving heart. It's like, I think it's a quote from Gandalf and maybe Margaret Mead. You know, it's the little things that have changed the world. It's all it ever has. So, the small and ordinary acts of love and kindness. Okay, I'm going to remind you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the, I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I commend them to you, whatever that looks like for you. It's a way you can support the center without, it just costs you a click. Go and subscribe to the YouTube channels. Go and like and follow the Facebook and Instagram, and then share the content. It's very helpful when people share it. Then Facebook goes, "Oh, other people should see this since you like it so much." So please do that. If you want to know what's going on with the center, please email info@creativelife.org. That is our constant contact. You get one email a week because it's a real person doing it. He doesn't have time for more than that. So I'm just going to remind you about that. All right. And I think that's about it. So I'm just going to remind you, to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a Sunday, a restful day, a get stuff done day, an annual business meeting day, a do you know your numbers day, look into your ideas about God day, maybe read somebody else's ideas about God day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or, as Reverend Jesse likes to say, you are a godling. All right, beloveds? Know the truth of your being. Explore the truth of your being on a regular basis. Okay, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. But it is Sunday. We are going to have an amazing service for you right here on Facebook Live. If you're watching this on YouTube, then click over to the Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel. You can watch the service. And then after service, we will have a business meeting. It is time for the annual business meeting. So if you're in the area, please feel free to pop on by. And if you are a member and can't make it, there should be a couple of places on the email to request a Zoom link. So, all right. Just because you're not here doesn't mean you can't come to the meeting. So, take care of yourself, know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.